welcome to Books in the Freezer. This is a bonus series, and joining me today is returning guest and my friend Laura
Hello.
to talk about Michel Faber's Under the Skin.
Ugh, it's so scary even hearing the title.
I don't even know what to think of it. Okay, no, lies. Okay, because we'll talk about our first experience with the book or movie. So when did you read this or watch the movie? What was your first encounter?
So I looked it up, and the first time I read it was actually in 2014. My friend recommended it to me, and he usually has great book recommendations. So we both read it, and then when the movie came out, we saw that in the theater, actually. And people were pretty well behaved, I have to give them that. My friend's partner had not read the book, and I was worried that he would not understand what was happening in the movie, but he was fine. I was probably coddling him a little bit.
That's good. This was a book I had heard people talk about on BookTube a few years ago. I think more in reference to like Michel Faber's other book, like the Book of Strange New Things. But then people were reading a lot of Michel Faber. Like there was kind of a weird Michel Faber essence. Like people were reading The Crimson Petal and the White and
Really?
Under the Skin. Yeah, I saw it pop up a few times. But I didn't really know what it was about until a few years ago. Eli Roth ruined it for me.
Oh my God. I hate when people do that.
So,
which we're about to do for everyone if they have not.
Spoiler alert. I won't spoil it right now, but I was watching, he released that series on Shudder, like the history of horror. And then he fully mentioned Under the Skin and fully ruined the twist. And I was like, excuse me.
Oh no.
Excuse me. I had not read that yet.
I think it does really add something. Yeah, if you don't know. Like, I don't always care about spoilers, but, you know, there are a few, like this one and Never Let Me Go, where I really think it helps if you just kind of feel creeped out at the beginning and weirded out.
Yeah, so, like, the whole time I was reading it, this time, I mean, being my first time reading it, I was like, oh, yeah, if I didn't know, I would be like, oh, man, what is this leading up to? Oh, what is she doing? What is she planning on doing with these men? Oh.
Well, you know, like rereading it, I was kind of like, maybe this isn't really that subtle, but it does add something to at least not know for 100% sure.
Yeah. So we were talking, and it's like, I don't think we need to do like a play by play of the plot, because I would say in the beginning, it is kind of just a lot of back to back interactions with different hitchhikers. And it does get a bit repetitive. So I would say kind of the overall plot is that we are following a woman named Isserley who is driving through a road in Scotland and picking up male hitchhikers. But she's very specific about who she wants. And we see that she will always like kind of drive by hitchhikers first and then kind of wheel around and come back and pick them up. But it's a first person narration, so we know that she's looking for like a big, like stronger guy with like muscles is her type, we would say.
Yeah.
And as she's driving with them, you know, she's asking them questions, trying to get personal information, and there are scenes where we get like their internal monologue and how they view Isserley.
Yes. And it's very interesting because you don't really see that much of anyone else's interiority, but when they're in her car, it brings you into them for a few paragraphs, and you know, you kind of hear what they think of her and why they're really on the road, or if they're hiding anything and things like that.
Yeah, it is interesting, and I think we'll probably come back to that because there are things there I want to discuss, but this is probably where we're getting into the twist. So if you do not want to be spoiled for this book or this movie, I would say this is maybe the point.
Well, and I would really recommend that you read it though, like or even just watch the movie if you don't feel like making a commitment to the hours it takes to read a book. You know, I just think it's it's a worthy story, and I think you would have more fun listening to the episode if you did read it. But if you don't want to, that's fine. I totally do that all the time.
Yeah, I get that. I would agree. And I think I really liked this book. I mean, I know we're glossing over a thing and now going into thoughts, but I really liked it. I thought it gave me a lot to think about. And even throughout the book, even knowing the twist, I was kind of engaging with like, okay, so like, what are we saying about this? Is this about this? So it was very interesting. And I listened to it as an audiobook through Hoopla, and the woman was very good, and she would do the Scottish accent for the hitchhikers. So I'm like, good job. Good job. Added a little something.
Yeah.
But essentially, we find out that Isserly is an extraterrestrial who has had a body modification surgery that leaves her in pain, to look like a human woman, to go out and get these hitchhikers. And she has an apparatus in her car that injects them. I think it's like under the headrest, right? It's like a needle that pops out and puts them to sleep.
It comes out of the seats.
Out of the seats, okay. And then she transports them back to the farm, where essentially they go through processing, we find out, for food.
Yeah, they're fattened up for a while, and then they send the meat back to their home world.
And I would say that's really kind of the big thing of it. There is some stuff that happens, like the son of the, like, essentially CEO of the corporation comes down and visits. And he was a pretty interesting character.
Yeah, kind of funny in some ways, too, you know. Like, he's almost like this irritating socialite. And, well, do you want to get into a little bit more about him?
Absolutely.
He actually, you know, they're going through all this rigmarole because the boss's son is coming and we want our operation to look good. But kind of the thing about him is that he actually is really opposed to his whole family's industry. And he's like a quote unquote vegetarian. He doesn't believe that we should be killing people and eating them. And so he's going on these like kind of exhausting diatribes about their rights or their, you know, experience to these production workers who don't care. And you know, he's very privileged to be able to even do this because where these aliens come from is this like beyond hellscape, like this horrible place to live. But, you know, he's very concerned with the experiences that these creatures are having on Earth, and he's kind of, I think he really just came to kind of scope it out and try to be able to persuade other extraterrestrials that we shouldn't be doing this, rather than, you know, trying to check on the tank for his father or anything along those lines.
Yeah, and he ends up freeing, like he sets loose like
well, he tries.
Yeah, I mean they do get a little head start, but then Isserly, and then I forget the name of the guy that works at the farm, that
Eswis. Yeah, the cranky old man.
Yeah, they go out and hunt them and stop them from leaving, but at that point they're kind of like unusable by the time they finally stop them.
Yeah.
And
well, you know, like he was talking about, you know, they tried to run or whatever. She's like, well, if you look at them, they have frostbite and they're messed up. Like by the time they're at this point anyway, they're not, you know, like fit men who are able to just run away and go back to society. Like they were really struggling in the first place. So really he just kind of tortured them before they killed them. Yeah, he tries to free them though. He lets them lead a merry chase.
Gives them a little bit of hope.
Yeah, exactly. He gives them something to do before they die.
She said, I was reading something and someone called his character the CEO's son. I'm so bad at names. And also I listened to it as an audiobook, so I didn't like constantly see their names, which I think also is a...
Oh, yeah. I think it would be hard, like both their vocabulary and their names. I mean, even in the book, it was kind of hard to just remember it because it's not something you're used to.
But someone compared him to Roman on Succession, played by Kieran Culkin, and I was like, yeah, that is the vibe for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of a stock character, really, when you think about it. But, it's they do a lot with, I don't know, the fact that they are these dog-like animals.
Yes.
They're very, very different from
I was gonna say
humans.
Yeah, this is the first time in the novel where we see their true form.
And it's through one that's supposed to be, like, really hot. So you're hearing Easterly thinking how hot this guy is, but it's, she's describing, like, kind of a dog or a hyena. It's, I don't know. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, they're like on all fours and they're furry and they have this like puffed out chest, but they also have like this long neck. So I thought it was kind of llama-esque, like their weird llama dog looking.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what gave me that hyena vibe, is the like the long, but it could be more of a llama or an alpaca, some kind of like camelid, but definitely not a human. It was really a lot for them to be able to even make Isserly and Eswis look human at all.
Yeah, because before we know the twist, Isserly talks about like the surgery she's had and how she's in pain all the time, and that's because she's had surgery to have her walk upright, on two legs, which is very unnatural for her. And other surgeries, but one of the surgeries was definitely, I would say, a boob job.
Yeah, and they modeled it off of porn so that, because the whole point of this is to draw in these men, so they figured out what men would like based on these porn mags, and they gave her that. So that was a big component of what they did to her surgically.
Yeah, and the first few times that she's picking up pictures, she's kind of prominently displaying them. She's like really pushing them out.
Yes, it's part of her routine. It makes you sad in a way. Like, oh God, Isserly.
Yeah, and it's so sad when we get the when we get to the men's point of view, where they're like, she's a very weird looking woman. She's got like gross hands, but she's got really nice tits. Like all of them are like, she's got really nice tits. She's really pushing them out there, I guess. She really wants me to look at her tits.
Yes, like they all at least note it. Like I think there was one guy who wasn't as interested in hooking up with her, but he was still like, well, maybe when we get to the destination, if she wants to, but I'm more interested in my destination. But they all were looking at them, I guess they kind of knew what they were doing, even though it is such a big distraction from how much of the rest of her, like, you really get an idea that she does not really look that human. And to me, it kind of creeps me out that you don't have that clear of a picture of what she must look like. I mean, she has to wear these thick glasses that she doesn't actually need because it disguises how weird her eyes are.
Yes.
She doesn't have, like human shaped and sized eyes. And her hands are weird because she has the wrong number of fingers. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah. And obviously her back is totally different from how it was. And it's, a huge source of pain for her and of shame because, her people are not built like that. And her joints are different. She has to train herself to try to move the way that humans move, and it's like it just can't be that successful.
No.
And she also shaves like most of her body regularly because otherwise she would just have hair. But I don't know. It's just weird to think about her thinking that she passes as human, and it kind of makes me feel nervous for her because it cannot be that convincing. She even knows at least to say that she's foreign and
yes.
Not try to sound like a local, but I don't know. She just can't seem that human. People just kind of, I guess, don't necessarily question things openly, so she gets by with that.
Yes, but I also want to know who in Hollywood read this source material about this like woman whose looks are kind of off-putting and she just has nice boobs, but like everything about her, everyone is like, oh, like something is not right. And they were like, you know who we need for this? Very beautiful, conventionally attractive Scarlett Johansson. Perfect.
I know. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I mean, I always loved seeing her in a movie, so I kind of didn't complain too much, but I was like, this does not seem, I don't know. They went in a slightly different direction when it comes to the movie, which we won't get into too much today, but it's very strange to think about, and it's strange to see the cover with Scarlett Johansson on it,
Mm-hmm.
even though I think it's a pretty cover, but it's like she doesn't really look like that. She she looks a little more grotesque and monstrous.
Yes. So yeah, as I was reading it, I kept trying to wonder why they would cast her. I did hear that the movie goes in a bit of a different direction, which we'll get into next time. We'll talk
Yes.
about the
Next
next time we'll
time.
talk about the movie more. But there's that run in. There's also she picks up a hitcher who tries to assault her.
He does. I mean, really. It was sad. It made me really sad.
Yeah. And I mean she ends
Like the reason he, one might say tries to assault her is because she doesn't really have genitalia anymore, and he 100% would have done penetrative rape if he could have. Well, he does force her to blow him, so that's penetrative. But he's trying to rape her, and it's just like she doesn't have the anatomy anymore because of the surgeries she's had. And it's just really like viscerally disturbing. And she gets out of it by using these joints that she has that are not like the way human limbs would move, to kind of like strike back at him suddenly when he's not expecting it. So, I mean, good for her for that. But it made me really sad. I was just like, oh, this is just so
yeah,
horrible.
I mean it's very distressing when you're reading it or like in my case listening to it and you kind of are like, oh no, like what's gonna I know where
Yeah.
this is going.
Yeah, after her sexual assault, like her mood or her mental health like really tanks, and she basically goes into crisis and goes back to nature in a sense.
There's a few other conversations that happen. I think, is it Amlis Vess that suggests the idea of like hunting goats and eating them for meat?
I don't remember who said that about hunting
But
goats.
she finds it so appalling because they resemble their own species so much. And she's like, how do you not see their
Yeah.
humanity? Because they refer to themselves as humans and the
Mm-hmm.
people, the earthlings, as vodsels, which is Dutch for food.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the goat,
It's so gross to
yeah, the
her.
goat was human and it, looked, it walked on four legs and had very similar features. She's like, how can you look at that and see food? Like, that is disgusting.
Yeah. I love that she loves animals. I really relate to her with that. I think I over identify with Isserly sometimes. I too feel like an abomination.
Oh, and have you ever been on either side of a hitchhiker situation?
Not for any length of time. Like kind of a can you take me like 5 blocks or something, but not to the length of like driving down the A9 talking about whether or not you have kids.
So yeah, we talked about her mental health really goes downhill after the assault and so much stuff. And essentially she's dealing with a lot of things, but she kind of comes to the conclusion that she wants to quit and just kind of wants, she has the car, she just kind of wants to see if she can just run away and not go back to the farm.
Yeah. I mean, one thing we maybe haven't mentioned is that she really loves Earth. Like, she really loves Earth and nature and loves being, outdoors. She wants to stay on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
So she wants to try to just be on her own, like maybe find something she can do that's not killing people.
Yeah.
And not have to worry about this, kind of dystopian planet that she's from anymore.
Yeah. So she picks up one last hitchhiker.
Who, like, forces her. He's like, hey, like, standing in the road, being like blocking her way so that she has to take him.
And while he's in the car with her, she goes through like the usual. Well, I think he actually just shares first. He tells her that he's going to go see his girlfriend who's about to give birth. Like, she doesn't even really need to go through the whole small talk.
Yeah, she's just over it, but he's just saying all this stuff anyway. So
yeah, he needs to go see his girlfriend who's giving birth to their daughter. But on the way there, they get into a car accident, and he is like thrown clear, like through the windshield. And Isserly is trapped in the driver's seat, like, and her body's ruined. Like, is she not going to make it? Yeah, she's like fatally hurt.
Yeah, and she couldn't have medical help anyway because they don't know what she is on Earth.
Yeah, so she has a device that is essentially going to destroy her body so that there will be nothing left. And so the novel ends with her right before she pushes the button.
Yeah, and she's kind of at peace with it. She's like, I'm going to blow up and become, the parts of me are going to become part of this planet that I love so much, which is nice. I guess it's kind of the best thing that could realistically happen to her. But it is kind of like, it kind of, at the end of the novel, maybe kind of, I don't know, definitely a down note, and definitely kind of not something you would expect reading the rest of the book, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a very good ending. I mean, I would have liked, of course, she drives off into the sunset and, like, who knows what's going to happen now. But
yeah, I mean, even if you kind of knew she couldn't do it, just having like the hope for her maybe. Or if she had met someone that she felt could understand her, or she's always, the people that she talked to all the time were outcasts from society, and that's like part of the class thing that is discussed in the book, like how people who end up hitchhiking are these people who are like outcasts, and that's part of why they pick them up, because no one's looking for them, no one cares about them. So if she had found someone that she could like relate to, and maybe she and that person could kind of look out for each other and make a little life together independently, that could have been a hopeful ending. I mean, maybe I'm not championing for the hopeful ending of Under the Skin, but it would have given us some hope for Isserly, as instead of her just being completely doomed, which is what she kind of was.
Yeah, listen, I would have loved the coming of age ending, like she's getting in the car and like the farm is getting smaller in the rear view, and like the windows are down, and like the salty Scottish air
has
in her hair, and she's just gonna go start anew. Needle drop.
She waves goodbye to the sheep. Yeah. And they play that music that she was looking for on cassette at the gas station on the radio.
Okay, that's our ending that we have.
We have written it. Dear Jonathan Glazier. We have some revisions.
So it was funny because after I read this, I immediately Googled, is Michel Faber a vegetarian? Which is one of the top Google searches relating to this novel.
Yeah, I think even if you look up Vodsel, it comes up as a suggested question.
Well, just because of the tone of the book. Okay, I do have to say also, one of the other top ones is Under the Skin based on a true story? Like,
oh my God, I did not get that one. That's a little frightening.
Like, is there someone out there that really thinks there are aliens that are kidnapping hitchhikers in Europe for food. And this is the
I mean,
real
maybe a few years
inspiration.
ago.
Was that a big thing in the 90s? Like,
Well, I was going to say a few years ago, I would have thought no one would think that, but now I think that people could be persuaded easily. But in the 90s, when it was harder to, like, look things up
yeah.
on the internet immediately, like, people did believe in a lot of really weird urban legends, like, just kind of, like, as facts. And my dad came home telling, like, every urban legend that he had heard from other people. These are professionals that he works with in a hospital setting, who just believe things like the chihuahua that was really a rat and stuff like that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
crazy. I mean, I would love
So
to
maybe
say that
people...
because of all the information we have at our fingertips now, that no one believes in conspiracies anymore because we can fact check, right? Like, that's what happened to society.
Oh yes, yes. Yeah, that's our hopeful ending to society.
Oh, but back to, I'm going all over the place, but when I Googled, is
I know,
Michel
me too.
Faber a vegetarian? There was literally a quote. This quote popped up. He said, at literary festivals over the years, quite a few fans of Under the Skin have thanked me for turning them into vegetarians. I don't know what to say to them. I'm not a vegetarian. For me, Under the Skin is not about the evils of eating meat, but about the evils of evading moral responsibility for the decisions we make. Like, imagine making a big, like, life-changing decision and him being like, that's not what the book is about, but that's pretty cool.
I think it's kind of funny. It's like Ray Bradbury disagreeing with the themes of Fahrenheit 451.
Oh yeah, where he's like, it was not about censorship.
It was not about
how
that.
TV is rotting our brains.
Yeah, like watching too much TV. And he apparently like walked out, when people were arguing with him about the themes of his own work. He's like, I've had it with you people. Fine. I guess I don't need to be here. I also have read the Book of Strange New Things by Michel Faber, and I think some people came out of that thinking that he was religious, because it is about this, like, Christian missionary, but I think kind of the point of the book, well, I would say the point of the book is about, Michel Faber is an atheist, I believe, or agnostic. He's not Christian anymore. I think that some of these things people have a hard time reading past the actual subject to maybe what he's more getting at. I do think I could see how someone would read this and think it was, an anti-meat, anti-factory farming thing. Mm-hmm. But I just don't think that was his intention. I think he didn't realize it was going to be the
I really appreciate
the
that
impression.
more, because as I was listening to it, I was kind of like, okay, this is like a anti-meat thing, but it seems really on the nose. Like, it all just kind of seemed like a high thought, like, man, what if we went to another planet and like the people that looked humans were like the animals, but like the cows were in charge and like they were the ones running society, man. And I was like,
yeah, it would be really heavy-handed if that
and
is
so,
what,
I was
like the main thing he was trying to do.
Yeah, so I was very glad to see, like, no, that was just the kind of the metaphor that I was using to get to a deeper thing. And I'm like, okay, I appreciate that much more than this very heavy-handed, like, let's flip the script. What do we think now, guys? And I mean, with that, it's tough for Isserly because she took this job to get off her home planet, and it is supposed to be this like really good opportunity that like a lot of other people would die to have, like they kind of frame it as like, you're lucky you get to do this.
Yeah, like in a way. I think that they're definitely the being transformed surgically into a grotesque monster is a significant drawback, at least at the beginning, because Isserly and Eswis, I think, are the first people to ever do this. So they really made kind of a sacrifice as being like pioneers into this industry, and there's a lot of unsurety and stuff that comes with that. But like at that point, where they come from is so horrible, so traumatic, so awful, such a hellscape
Mm-hmm.
that people are like, look, let us do this. Like, we will come. We can get more people. We can, do whatever you want to us surgically. We need out of here.
Yeah.
So it makes Isserly feel less indispensable and more kind of, maybe she wouldn't even be the best at what she does. So it's kind of depressing.
Yeah. And I think she likes to think that she's not as involved in the process because she's not involved in the processing, though she does try to stay to watch it happen one time, and they keep telling her that she shouldn't be
Yeah,
here to
yeah.
watch it.
After she was assaulted, she like had so much anger. I think she really needed to see the bad side of what happens to these people that she normally just sees at the beginning, kind of. And she is not as, yeah, she's not a production worker like the guys underground. She's pretty hands off.
Yeah, so she basically just goes and collects the meat. And during her small talk, she's kind of seeing like who has family that's going to miss them, like who has people that are going to
Yeah.
be looking for them. And she's kind of looking for like a bigger dude with no connections is kind of the ideal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very like her role, a lot of it is like sizing them up physically initially and then kind of trying to make sure they don't get caught and continue, their operation undetected.
Yeah. Which reminds me of a horror movie that came out recently, but that's also very twist heavy. So I just feel like if you're listening to this, if you know, you know. But yeah, like one thing that I thought was funny that we mentioned earlier is that they call themselves humans, but the people Votzels, which is just, I thought, a funny choice in the storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's supposed to be funny. I mean, I don't know. Obviously you know that. But they are always using, human being when it comes to something that sounds very canine, like sleeping on the ground. And, making a big point of saying, she did this like any other human being and whatever. But obviously they're not like earth humans.
Yeah, because that's like with the goat. Now that you talk about it, I think it might have been a sheep because there's so many sheep around, not a goat. But when they bring up the idea of eating them, she's like, they look like a human being. They are a human being. Why would you even suggest that? Like she
Yeah,
says human being. And you mentioned that.
she loves the sheep. I think it's so sweet. She,
Yeah.
she likes the animals that are around and talks to them and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned earlier, she picks up a hitcher who mentions that he left his dog in his van.
Yes.
And so after she gets him, she goes back and finds the dog. She was very concerned about the dog's well-being, and she talks about like how anxious the dog was being trapped in the van, waiting for its owner.
Yeah. Yeah, he's freaking out. It's kind of funny that, like I personally, I know people feel different ways, but I really hate to read about animals being harmed in a book. But it's funny that this one kind of passes the test for me personally, even though it's so gruesome and it's about humans being tortured and killed. But she lets that dog out. So, that's something that would make me really sad. It's one of those things where either you feel that way or you don't. So, it made me happy that she freed the dog.
Yeah, of course she
kind of
would.
just let
It's
it-
a human being, Laura.
Exactly. That's how it feels to me. She just kind of let it just, just let it out. I mean, she lets it out to not starve
Yeah.
and then it's on its own, but she doesn't know any better than that. So
Yeah, she doesn't like.
she couldn't really take it to the animal shelter.
I mean, another, I would think, big theme in this book is kind of like yes, aliens, but also like what is it to be an alien or like an immigrant or an outsider, which is a theme I think works very well with this storytelling device.
Yes, I agree. It's very much about like who belongs and who doesn't. And some of the conclusions are that these human men that she picks up are people who don't belong.
Mm-hmm.
And even as the reader, like you kind of see some of these guys as being like, you know, not fitting in, being kind of, you know, I mean, some of them are kind of nasty.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of them are lower class citizens who like yeah they don't belong in society, but they've turned that anger out onto outsiders and immigrants as saying like they actually are the ones that don't belong here.
Yeah, yeah, they are the
Mm-hmm.
outsiders, and like the idea, I don't know, of who actually is the outsider or who is an outsider to whom it is relative to everyone.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah. And then, I mean, we're in Isserly's point of view, and she is obviously doesn't fit in. You know, she panics a little bit every time there's small talk, and they bring up something pop culture-y. She has to be like, oh, like what do I pull out? What phrase do I pull out of my repertoire to like send
Yes.
this somewhere
She
else?
watches a lot of
Mm-hmm.
TV, like in the movie Splash, so that she can kind of understand through TV. But you know, of course she is majorly an outsider, like more so than anyone she talks to because she's from another planet. And she thinks that she's, you know, she thinks she has like a system and a logic, and if she just follows this protocol, like she's doing just fine and undetectable. But it really is nerve-wracking
Mm-hmm.
if you're sympathizing with her because she really is just barely skating by. Like she's only interacting with these few people, most of whom she kills. So if she interacted with very many more people, she would definitely be like figured out that something weird is going on with her, and you know it makes you feel nervous for her.
Yeah, I would say the first few chapters are very nerve-wracking when she picks up the hitchhikers, and you're very much in the dark as the reader as to like what the situation is, like why she's doing
Yeah.
this, and she doesn't seem to be scared for her safety.
Yes, she thinks she has figured most of it out,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, as someone who actually lives in society, like we know that she actually is pretty clueless in a lot of ways, and in ways that are sad to me also. Like she thinks her car will just last forever because it's made of these durable materials, and it just isn't, you know, she thinks she could just continue doing this for however long her lifespan is. Um, and she just doesn't know that much, obviously, about society. She thinks hot dogs are made out of dog.
Yeah, I do remember that. Like she goes into a gas station and she was like, what the hell?
Yeah. But she also thinks it's normal. She thinks that people eat dogs. So, and there are a number of times that she has issues with feeding herself in the book because, you know, not only is she stressed and she waits too long to eat until she's desperate, but she doesn't know exactly what she can eat because she's like a kind of a pioneer into this lifestyle of the extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
And they don't have everything kind of figured out. She basically, and I relate to this too, like she can rely on fried potato matter, you know.
I
That's
also
what her
could
people
thrive
eat.
on fried
Yes.
potato matter, Isserly.
That will get me a few more miles down the road also.
Yeah, because there's this
But there
scene
are like some,
at the end when she's kind of prepping for the idea that she's leaving, and she does get some food at the gas station and she ends up throwing it all up, and she's kind of taking that into account, like,
yes.
okay, well, I'll, you know, experiment with this and this, and like I at least know that I can eat this and it'll get me this far. So it is stuff that she knows, like she has to figure out what works with her.
Yeah, like with her extraterrestrial body functioning
Yeah, her.
as a human. I don't know. It's I mean it would be scary if you were in that situation and you didn't know what you could eat that would make you like desperately ill. Like some things just the way that like dogs can't eat just anything. They can't eat all human food, and it's, you know, it's just a weird situation for her, especially since she can only really go to gas stations at that point.
Yeah. The way that the book is, I think the synopsis is written really makes it seem like she is this like cold predator, like hunting these men.
Yeah.
And I say when you read that, I think that that's not really her personality. She's kind of like, I have to do this. This is a job.
Oh, yeah.
She
yeah,
doesn't
I
seem
think
to
that
be too attached to any of the
Fossils.
fossils. But I would say it is a bit different than I think the synopsis makes it sound. But it is funny because I've seen TikToks where people are like, the average man does not have like has not honed the survival instincts that like women have for like, this is a dangerous situation. I am in danger, or like, I shouldn't do that because that's dangerous. Like, most men do just kind of go around about the world and assume that everything's going to be okay. And if it's not, like, they can just like fight their way out of it.
Yeah. Or they just don't expect to be in that type of situation. It's way less likely, I think, for many of them than having to, you know, face an assault, like having to be on guard 24/7 because of the threats.
Yeah, because I would say none of the men that get in her car think that something bad is going to happen to them, even though hitchhiking is very dangerous.
Yes. And it's dangerous because of her, but, you know, they just don't think of it that way.
So I thought that was...
And I think that she is kind of mischaracterized in talking about the book a little bit, because I think people act like she's just doing this. Or do we want to get into the fact that it's her job like a little later?
No, we can do it now.
Okay. I think that, you know, people on a surface level are like, you know, she's hunting these guys down and she's eating them and blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, is she really though? Because I don't think she really gets much of the meat. Like, she really is like hunting them down because she wanted to get off of their home planet so badly, and now she's in the only position that was available to her, and she just does these things that I don't think she's even 100%, you know, morally on board for, or she just kind of doesn't care. And it's just because it's her job, and, you know, she doesn't really have a choice. There is no place in any society for her but doing what she's doing.
Which is so
and
sad.
That's why she's doing it. Yeah, you know, it's not because she's this bloodthirsty, like, she doesn't care until, you know, she had that really traumatic experience and she needs to see something, you know, violent happening to these. Like, before that, it's just kind of like what she does, and then she just goes home and does her exercises and watches TV. I mean, you know, she's not like a serial killer or something along those lines.
Definitely. I was going to say something, but now it escaped me. Now my mind is totally
well,
blank.
I mean, I think that's more I think that's more what the theme of the book is, rather than vegetarianism. I think it really is more like things that you are forced to do because this is, you know, where you can function, and maybe there are not a lot of alternatives to what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think it's more about, like, we live in a society type of thing.
It is.
And it's depressing.
Yeah. Well, and she's also not high class. So it's like, this is the job that was available to her. And as you mentioned earlier, she really doesn't even really get to reap the benefits of it. It's not like she gets to indulge in this meat.
Right.
So
I don't even think she usually sees it. So
yeah. So it is like people that are in certain situations do have to take part in industries or jobs that they might not morally agree with, or that ultimately contribute to, we would say, like a moral wrong. But it is they have to. It's for survival, and it's what's available to them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. She doesn't. I think that she doesn't get a huge amount of pleasure out of
No.
it. Like, towards the beginning, she's thinking, like, I'm good at this. I've really, like, formed I'm the only person who knows how to do this because I've been doing it all this time. But then as things go on and she learns more about the competition for her job, she gets, like, kind of saltier and saltier about how much work she has to do and people's reaction, her coworkers' reaction to her and these different things, and it's really stressing her out. It's like, even being in this position where she doesn't have to work in the oxygen mines or whatever she was having to do on her own world, it's a really stressful position, and she's having a harder and harder time with it and kind of lashing out. It's just like a lack of options for her in general in life.
Yeah. Which is, I know we talked about it earlier, when Amless Fest, the CEO's son comes down and is like, I just think this is wrong. It's like, this is a rich person who has all the options in the world and has all the room to take this privileged stance to say that what they're doing is wrong and then like sabotage their efforts. It's a little like hollow activism. It's very privileged. Tone deaf.
Like, there's a part of me that wanted to, yes, exactly. There's a part of me that wanted to like him because at least he was being nice to Isserly in like a fairly genuine way, and I always kind of am taken in, I'm manipulated by that in a book, but it was also kind of like, well, okay, good for you, like, you're part of, they call it the elite, not that it's like unique term, but on their world there is this like very wealthy class, which is what they're selling this human meat to anyway, and the cost of it really shocks Isserly. It's like, enough for people to live on for like a pretty extensive period of time, and he's part of this privileged class, and he can choose to be opposed to it, not take part in it, do these other activities. He even is part of this movement for like recreationally using a form of the drug, the sedative that they use on the Vodzels, and gives Isserly some while she's having, sorry, I'm just like, these details are just coming back to me.
No, go for it, because the details like will kind of escape me, so go for it.
When I was rereading, I took all these notes to make sure that I wouldn't miss things, and I probably would have if I hadn't done that, but Isserly is in like all of this pain because of, not taking care of herself and, having these traumatic things happen to her for a few days, and like Amless Vess is actually kind of letting her have a breather and telling the people, she needs fresh air, and he gives her, like some of the natural form of the drug that's not concentrated to knock anyone out, and she resists taking it, but then when she finally does, she's like, wow, this really does help with my back. But like, that's something she never would have had access to, being this boots on the grounds worker in this supply chain. He only has it because he's a wealthy person. So there's a lot of that. And then, Isserly also is kind of resentful of the production workers because, she sees herself as having to do so much more mental work and stuff like that. It's kind of like she's somewhat of a middle class in this small society. And I don't know, it's just a hard place for her to be in. She doesn't have really anyone who's on her level either. Like, the other guy who's had the surgery, her and him kind of avoid each other. They're kind of ashamed of their own sacrifices, and they don't really want to have a lot to do with each other, so she's really pretty alone for a lot of it.
Yeah, that is a lot of it. Yeah, she only really hangs out with herself, and she doesn't like to even interact with Is it the processing people that all kind of sneer at her when she goes to her cabin and they like are grossed out by like her room and how she sleeps?
Well, yeah, like the production workers, she like avoids them. She goes in there to eat in the cafeteria, but I think it's more her perception of how they feel about her. I mean, maybe they kind of do think like, oh, you know, I mean, it would be pretty strange and gross to have someone around you who is like surgically modified to be like a prey animal to you. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of a lot. But she doesn't even really let them do anything for her. She's very like, you know, I want to do this on my own. I don't want you, you know, feeling sorry for me or anything like that. But she is dependent on them, and that's hard too. It's just, it's a really difficult position that she's in.
All right, so we've done the book. So next month we will be talking about the A24 film adaptation of Under the Skin, starring one Miss Scarlett Johansson as Isserly. And I did hear that it.
Oh, wait,
Huh?
Stephanie. Her name is not
What?
Isserly in the movie. Guess what her name is?
Joanna.
Her name is Laura.
Nice. I guess that's a very like unthreatening name. I say that like there's a list
thought it
of
was funny.
threatening names, like alarming names. You should be worried if you're getting picked up hitchhiking by like an Amber, like be on alert. But a Laura, I think you're okay.
I think if you go through like the VC Andrews catalog, maybe some of those names. Yeah. So next time we will be watching the movie
Yeah.
and discussing it as an adaptation of this novel.
I did hear it was a bit different, so I am interested to see where it goes. I will say I could not find it on streaming, so it is something that if you would like to join us, you will probably have to pay for on demand or get it at your library.
Yes, I was so annoyed because it was on Netflix for so long, Netflix US, but they took it down the second that we started this project.
That always
so.
happens to me where I'm like, oh, this is available. Like, I will read this book and do that. And then as soon as I'm done, like, it's gone. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm sitting down on my couch, like,
know.
searching for it. Like, no, dang it. It has happened to me so many times.
They're getting worse and worse. We're probably gonna cut them off sooner or later anyway. But
Jesse's been talking about that for like months. He's like, Netflix sucks. I'm waiting for the new series of Dairy Girls to drop. It's in Europe right now, and I'm waiting for it to be released in the US, and then I want to cut it.
Yeah, we watch all these horrible like reality dating shows and stuff, or just reality like The Circle and stuff.
That kind of seems to be like most of their new content.
Yeah, that's how they do it, right? Because like we have to watch these awful, trashy, terrible reality shows that make us like howl with laughter, and that's how they keep us on their stupid platform. But they're really on thin ice with us.
Yeah, I got you. Well, Laura, thank you so much for doing homework, essentially doing a book report, and
I did.
coming on and talking to me about Under the Skin. Also, this was a book you had recommended to me for a while, and I would say your recommendations are usually spot on.
Thank you. I think I do better with you than I do with Rachel, but Rachel liked this one too.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I don't know. Rachel's very hit or miss, but I feel like she likes what she likes. I mean, don't we all, though? I say that like, there, there's people that don't like what they like, but
sometimes I'm that way too.
All right. Well, thank you again. And thank you, Patreon supporters. Please let me know if you've read Under the Skin and what you thought of it. And if you'll be joining us next month for the movie adaptation.
Yes. Thank you very much.